Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new around here. My name is Ashley and I go by the Ashleyness here. Today we are playing planetzoo, and this is our third episode for Esme Zoo. And we're going to start off today with doing a butterfly garden in this little space here. So to start, we're going to have to go in and get our walkthrough exhibit. So we're going to go find that. And I kind of want it crooked so it's not a straight path. We're going to get our keepers in so that we can get our animals in when it comes time. And I haven't put any staff in yet, so we're going to go ahead and get all of them right now. And we're just going to go ahead and put the same kind of butterfly in to make it consistent. And we're going to go through and we're going to take away, make sure that the temperature is proper, and we're going to put in to where it's nothing, so it's easy to make it look like a butterfly garden. As we go through, we're just going to go ahead and manage the population, make sure that we don't get overwhelmed, and then we're just going to go ahead and create a path that looks like dirt. There we go. And then I really like these stones, and so we're going to continue this throughout the whole zoo, I believe. I think it's really a nice little trick that makes it look like it's a stone path. I did find some photo inspiration on this, which I'll put up on the screen here in a minute. And so yeah, I'm just going to keep going with the stones, and they are really tall right now, but I am going to sink them into the ground here in a minute, because if we leave them this tall, it'll look like their feet are sinking into the stone, which is not really what we're looking for. Oops. That's gonna happen. Let's see. We're just gonna keep rotating and continue down the path. Select them all and sink them down like I said. Whoops. That one got a little too deep. There we go. And then I like these little planters, so we're gonna go ahead and group these together. If I can get them all, oh my goodness, ah! So we're gonna get them all, and then we're gonna go ahead and continue this throughout so it looks that very cohesive, so it's gonna look the same. Now the idea of the zoo is that I want it to be kind of modern, but also kind of vintage, not vintage, but rustic at the same time, but as well as very lush and tropical, but very deliberate and detail oriented. So we're just going to continue doing the rocks. We're going to make it look like it's kind of tropical. We're gonna grab the periwinkle. I think this is gonna be my new favorite plant because I feel like it just like is such great ground cover. We're just gonna spread this around, and I kind of like the idea of it going over the path because it makes it look a little bit more lush, in my opinion. We're going to grab some more different foliage that we've been using in the other parts of the zoo, just to make it look similar. Let's see, that's looking pretty darn good in my opinion. I think we're going to grab some bamboo and add it here as well, just to make it look a little more dynamic. And we're just about done with our butterfly garden. We're just gonna do a little terrain work, make it look a little more interesting, so it's not just all flat looking. Get some lights in here. And you know, I had a little hard time deciding what I wanted to do for my lighting because it was kind of tricky, and I was like, well, I wanted to look modern and I wanted to look tropical and interesting at the same time, but it was like too little for some of the stuff, or like too tropical. And so I decided on these, and I decided to spread them around the whole park. more rocks here. It's really starting to come together. And let's see, what else do we want to do? So I think that's pretty good for the butterfly garden. So, oops. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get going on our next exhibit, which is our main one. Our first one is going to be orangutans. And so what I'm going to do is I found a picture that I really liked for this. And so I'm going to use that as inspiration. And they had a moat and some landscaping that was kind of elevated, so it was easier to see into the enclosure. So what I would like to do now is try to do the moat, which I've never done before. So but I think it turns out really well if you watch. So yeah, I'm gonna just use these plaster pieces and I'm gonna angle it down, and as you can see, and I'm just gonna carry it throughout. And then just keep going on. And as we build, I'm actually going to give you some information on orangutans. So what we have in the game right now is the Borneo orangutan, which is a species of orangutan from the island of Borneo. They belong to the only genus of great apes native to Asia. It is the largest of the 3 species of orangutans. Like the other great apes, orangutans are highly intelligent, displaying tool use and distinctive cultural patterns in the wild. Orangutans share approximately 97% of their DNA with humans. Orangutans are among the most intelligent primates. They use a variety of sophisticated tools and construct elaborate sleeping nests each night from branches and foliage. The apes' learning abilities have been studied extensively, and there may be distinctive cultures within populations. All 3 orangutan species are considered critically endangered. Human activities have caused severe decline in population and ranges. Threats to wild orangutan populations include poaching, habitat destruction, and deforestation, and, unfortunately, the illegal pet trade. There are, luckily, several conservation and rehabilitation organizations dedicated to the survival of the orangutans in the wild. And that's throughout the Borneo Islands and everywhere else. And, zoos do their bit too to make sure the population continues. As you can see in our game, we are still going strong. And right now I'm building the wall to their exhibit, or their indoor habitat. So something I want to do for them is I want to make sure each animal has an outdoor space and a private indoor space. And so that is extended and shown in this habitat as well. And I kind of want it to be as natural as we can get. Of course, that's not necessarily possible given the fact that this is a zoo. So, but it is really spacious and it works out really well in the end. So we're just going to extend this out. This is their outdoor area, obviously. And I have to be very conscious of the idea of them not scaling these rocks to escape. So that's why I kind of lowered them down. But I do like the idea of them being in the background, so that it gives it more dynamic. We're just getting some terrain work going here. And then we're gonna work on the door. Now I kind of played around with several ways here for the animals to come in and out of this area, but I ended up settling on this one because I wanted to make sure the keepers could come through as well. And then I saw this in another person's video where you use the gutters as like the sliding door bottom parts and top parts. So I thought that was really cool. So I decided to use that in mine as well. And they were a little crooked, but we got it. And then I'm also going to put it on the top after making sure it's aligned. And then I got to flip it. But yeah, this was originally going to be a capuchin one when I first started, and then I decided that it was going to be too big and I wanted to make sure that our guest could see the monkeys and apes quite well, and so then I settled on the Borneo orangutans instead. So yeah, here I'm just playing with the idea of what doors I want. I knew I wanted them to be like metal and shiny, but I was having a hard time finding ones that I really liked. It took a few tries. I liked this one, but then I didn't like how like overlapped it was, and then it was like giving me a little grief here. And just trying to align it in with the bottom and top. And then I decided on doing this one instead, which I think works really well, because it's kind of like makes sense that they would be able to come and go on their own. It does kind of make it not needed to have done the gutter work. I do plan on doing more sliding doors later on, or appearing to be sliding doors, but you know, this is just how it turned out for this one. You know, a lot of the times when we're building, or when I'm building at least, I find that I start off with an idea and then I change my mind. And that's how it goes. You know, it's an evolving situation. And then here I'm just decorating the doorway, finding different little ways of kind of doing it. And I settle on this. And then I really wanted to make it look a little more tropical, a little more dynamic along the walls here, so it wasn't just so flat. And so given the tropical nature of our area, I went ahead and did the bamboo. And I'm just going along the whole of the wall and just making sure that it all matches up and looks good. And then here I got a little worried that they would be able to escape, because it's so low right here. So I decided to go ahead and add some little barriers here, but also make it look themed. And this is looking really, really nice. And then I decided that I wanted to do kind of like a barrier just in case I did manage to get out into the water and try to climb up, which I think would be more realistic. And so I make kind of this little fence. And like the idea is like maybe like there's going to be like a hot wire in there. So like if they do manage to actually get to the fence and climb out, you know, then that hot wire would stop them. But of course I don't have a hot wire in there. So here we're just creating that using the mesh and the metal pieces and just kind of aligning everything and getting it to work. So yeah, as I said, I'm really working hard on detail work on this zoo. I have been very inspired by other people's videos online. There are some amazing creators out there, and I just really aspire to do that as well. And so I feel like I've met some of these requirements on this zoo so far, and I just love how it's turning out. And you know, sometimes I kind of forget while I'm building that I can select multiple. I get going and I just kind of get in a little rhythm there, and I just kind of forget that I can multiple select and go. So it's kind of silly, but you know, you just kind of get focused in and go. And then here I'm just aligning everything. Whoa. Sometimes my zoom does that. I don't know if your guys do that in your zoo, but my zoom will just like pop in and out really fast instead of smooth sometimes. Yeah, let me know. I'm curious if you guys do that too. I don't know if it's just me. But here I was just having a struggle getting everything lined up and even. As you can see, it gets a little crooked. But that's okay. You know. See, we get it. Yeah, so for this one, I'm not doing like a backstage area like for the keepers and stuff like that. I'm still not 100% sure how to go about doing that. Like I know you can do a lot with it, but I haven't really figured out how to do that. So maybe in later enclosures I'll give it a go. But like for these ones, I'm mostly trying to do the habitats and enclosures with high detail and the buildings. But like not necessarily the interior super much for the buildings, just because that is really, 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 really time consuming, and that can like just like take up way too much time and energy. But I do want the exteriors to look really nice, which is I think our education building from our last video was really, really well done. Anyway, here we are. We're just kind of making it look a little more seamless. I wish the path was closer to the fence line, the edge here, but it's not. So we just kind of have to go with what we got. I did try to make it closer, and I did change out the color because I was like, I don't really like this color anymore. So I take a couple seconds here and, and redo all my pathing to this darker color. Which I think just like really helps it pop. Anyway, back to the enclosure. Let's see here. So I knew I wanted a fence to separate from the guest from like falling off into the moat, because you know that would not be great. And so I decided to do a fence, and I had a hard time figuring out which fencing I wanted to do. I kind of played with this one for a minute, thinking I was gonna make it work, and then I actually end up changing my mind, as you're gonna see, because it's too thick. Like I need it to be where like little kids can look through too. So as I said, I kind of fuss around with it a little bit here. And then I tried to get the path closer, and I couldn't because of the dip of the moat. And while it's covered, it is still there on the ground. And so you just can't, or I couldn't. I don't know, maybe you could figure it out. But I couldn't figure it out. So here I'm just trying to find another fence. And I land on this actually, and it's like an awning. And I actually really like it. So, and I think it works out really great for this. And like I said, I'm trying to do modern, but like rustic at the same time. So like, I want it to be kind of a mixed media. And I feel like with all the white plaster, gray plaster, and then having the wood is really nice. So yep, we're just putting the fence in. And there's me remembering I can multi-select. And then I'm still trying to make sure I bring out these throughout, and also the corners looked a little wonky, so I wanted to make sure that they were kind of covered up. Always remember to save, you know, because games crash and you lose stuff. So it's a good idea to save on a consistent basis. So just extending out the path here. And then we're going to get going on the interior area here soon. And it is quite a large area for them on the inside as well. And I'm kind of debating, because it is really neat inside. I am debating that they maybe will be, like, guests will be able to come and see them on the inside during like a tour only, so that the general population isn't just chilling out there. Because like when you do a tour, you can do them off the main paths and you can take them onto the staff paths. And so I'm interested in maybe doing that down the line. But at this time, this is a private space. I do this little open area here so that they can look in at them in the interior, but there is a privacy wall in the back so of this little space, so that there is a definition between the two areas. And just like in my education building, I'm using this dark green color to divide out and kind of give more dynamic colors, so it's not all just the same. And then yeah, we're just building the building now. So I do kind of want the inside to mimic the outside a little bit, so that it is more of a natural feeling for them and they're more comfortable. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little break from narration and let you watch as we finish up this building. And I will check in with you here in a little bit. Alrighty, that's looking really, really good. So right now we're gonna go ahead and get our orangutans into the enclosure and make sure everything is working well before we get in all our foliage and our toys and everything else. And yep, that's what I was worried about. They actually could not get through until now. And so here's the staff is able to get through as well the animals, and so we're good to go now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get their foliage going to make it look more lush in there and more natural, both on the inside and the outside. So we're just going to put some into the moat to make it a little more interesting. And then we're going to we're going to go for it. And we're going to make sure we get climbing going. Oh, I got to turn off my align to surface. And we're just going to go ahead and make it look as usable and natural as we can, while making sure they can still be hidden but also seen at the same time. And then of course the tricky part about putting trees inside is making sure they don't go through the roof or the walls, which is hard, but it works out. And then just doing these, I like using these little trees as bushes because I love how green they are. And then we're just going to add some greenery up here as well, just to make it look cohesive and makes it look pretty. We are nearing the end of the video now, but we are almost done. We still need to do all of the enrichment items as well. So something I'm trying to do a lot of with the foliage is I want it to be like natural looking. So like when you have like the big areas where they are originally started, and then spreading out from there. So like, you know, you're not going to have all the same height for the bushes and stuff like that. So that's what I'm trying to do a lot of. But anyway, here I'm doing like ones that would make sense outside, and then I'm gonna do for enrichment, and then inside I'll do more as well, because the worst thing that could happen is have all the enrichment inside and then have them not want to go outside or use any of like this little inside space, you know, because it's there, and what if they don't use it because it's just nothing there to do. And so that's why I made sure to put the enrichment in different areas. So we're just testing to make sure we got everything good. And you know, this is looking really, really, really nice. I really enjoy the little peek through here. I really like how big this space is. And let's just zoom in and see our friends here and see how they're doing. And I see they can use the door perfectly, which is great. This was a really fun one to make. I really enjoy how it turned out. There are a lot of firsts for me making this enclosure, including the moat, because I've never done that before, and I think it turned out really great. Thank you for watching, and I hope you were inspired. I know I certainly was building this, and you know, most of all, I hope you have a beautiful day, night, or whatever time it is for you. Bye.